I am super excited to have András joining us. András is a Dynamics 365 technical lead with Avanade, and he is going to be demoing the Google Books connector that he has made as a community member. András, feel free to take over screen sharing whenever you are ready.
Hello, yes, thank you very much for the introduction. I think I already took it over the screen.
I think you did too.
Okay, that's perfect. So, hello, hi all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on the timelines. I'm András. I will be here with you for the coming, let's say, 10 minutes to do a bit of demo and introduction and overall explanation around all of this and how I got into this part through the Google Books in the Publisher connector. Before I begin, there will be just 2 slides or 3 for a bit of show and tell. I think it's going, yes. So, my name is Fördős András. It's a bit around other way around. It's last name, first name. In Hungary, we are a bit turnaround and we are not using the normal English or British methodologies. I'm a technical consultant, as I have been already introduced at Avanade. I am currently residing in Malaga, Spain, south of Europe, mostly for the sunshine. I have been traveling around though various countries and living up many places. Don't worry, pronunciation is not really an issue. I mean, I have been switching out of countries in German-speaking, English-speaking, and now the Spanish-speaking parts. Pronunciations are always going crazy, so it's not an issue. I did see a lot of people have in community some type of title. Given this is my first, let's say, second community talk or presentation, I don't really have any kind of such thing, but many people say I'm the depends on guy or person. Given I use these 3 words to drive crazy all of the stakeholders or partners or team members I'm working with together, let it be if they are asking for advice, guidance, design, or anything. It depends on, that's the answer. And just a short part before I begin with the Google Books itself, about independent publisher connectors. I have been working so far with the list above or below, depending on your screen setup. I started getting into this probably not in the same way as many of the other ones. I didn't face straightforward challenge what I wanted to solve and then came up with a connector for that one, but rather I was interested. I was working on creating a customer data platform solution for one of our partners, and they were looking for enriching that data set about their customers, about their accounts, and it came very handy that we had connection API to the British government, checking and verifying VAT numbers. So that's how I connect to this part. Actually, at the moment, I started to work together with or submitted the connector straightforward to the connector gallery, managed by the great guys of Matt Beard and Thomas Sansor, I believe, who told me that there is actually this partner program going on with independent publisher, where I could also publish it and make it available for the overall community and, well, all the experts, low code, pro code, everybody who is using Power Platform solutions. So I did begin with this one. The British government, VAT and the word time connectors, they are fairly basic. They were really just to try out how it works, how the program works, what it does. After that came the Google Books, which I will demo and talk about a bit more later on, and the Pixel Encounter. The Pixel Encounter was a pet project. I did build my first Power-Ups Canvas application to create a pixelated screen, responsive one, to create, to show, display pixel animations, pixel art, create pixel art, whichever you feel like and want to do. And for that, the Pixel Encounter was a nice service, or is still a nice service. Basically random generating you monsters, pixelated monsters, what you can just get through their service, which you can later use for icons, logos, avatars. Literally the limits is the sky. After this, I turned rather back to the challenge part, as probably not normal path for the people is. Creating the exchange rate connector. Probably there is 2 or 3 different similar solutions already existing. I'm coming from the Dynamics world, where if you are using Dynamics 365 Sales, you need to, or you should, time to time updating your conversion rates for given currencies, which is not native out of the box. So for that, this solution is an answer, one of the answers at least. And then came the environmental or sustainability solutions, the IQR and FishWatch, iQure is, if you are not familiar with the services, is providing a real-time up-to-date data about air pollution, air quality, based on location, regions, countries, and even GPS coordinates. While FishWatch is one of the biggest one, I think, or the biggest, most up-to-date information system about popular seafood choices farmed or harvested within the United States or around, which is basically allowing you nutrition informations, farming, biological informations about the species, really a lot of information there. And in the last days, I turned back to my usual background for ALM and operations with Swagger connector, language tool, and Postman to allowing, well, development work also, and hopefully seeing a bit of rise there for low-code automation and ALM processes. And if you want to look up also the LinkedIn or additional blog and whatnot, you can find me over here on this QR code. Later on, I assume in the recording it will be still visible. So Google Books itself, I assume there's not really the introduction, and apparently it was asked by a lot of partners so far. It is, I think, the biggest available or public database regarding any kind of publications. It's not just books, it's magazines, newsletters, ebooks also, publication, any kind of research publications, with one of the biggest killer feature of enabling you already from the start a full text search, meaning you are not just searching through the abstract, but you are capable of searching through all the body of text available in the database. And that is a very rapidly growing database, to be fair, given they are not just typing in or sometimes uploading documents and new publications, but they are continuously scanning also all their historical documents to extend their library of books. To start to work with it, you do need a Google account, which is free and which is very easy to register, or most probably all of us already has one. And it does provide loads of services or endpoints for us to work with, which can be categorized mostly into three main areas, out of which in the first version of the independent publisher connector, what I've submitted, is working with the first group, which is basically public search feature. Either we can search through various volumes, books, through the database, or retrieve specific information for one single volume, for one single book or publication or magazine. The second group is, which probably will be the next extension for the connector also, if will be requested, we can collaborate, is enabling you to also not just search and go through the full database, but review or list other people's bookshelves, other people's collection of various books. And the third category is basically your own bookshelf. You can manage your own bookshelf. You can create various bookshelves, add specific volumes, remove, share, and basically have collections about technology, about ecological, sustainable farming, tomato planting, or whichever you feel like. So just a note here yet again, the current version of the connector is supporting just the first pack, basically a search feature, which is basically the biggest killer feature anyway of the service. But we can collaborate and reach out to me anytime if there is a need to bring in all the other or any of the other endpoints too. And enough about the talk. Let's then do a bit of demo. Before beginning there, just a quick review. There is also documentation uploaded or given for the independent publisher. I assume you're seeing right now my pull request on the Power Platform independent connector, if correct. Someone can confirm me, please.
I see your README.
Yes, that's perfect. So yes, there is some additional documentation there if needed, like how you can create a Google account, or where you find API key, which is needed for the basic start, or what are the supported operations. Usually when I start to work with independent connectors or working even just custom connectors and not submitting anything up for certification, I start with looking around for documentation, for which actually Google is one of the best source, because their documentation is very thorough and extensive on how the API works. After that comes the normal part of building actually connectors, so going through the downloading the Swagger or open API file, if there is any. If known, then just connecting directly to the maker portal, make.powers.com, creating the connector, then with the pack tool, command line tool, downloading and updating with additional missing descriptions, a bit of reviewing and modification around if user experience wise it's better to have drop down values for some of the entry parameters or not. It's just a normal process. But here the important part is that Google actually is a very nice service to work with. There is an extensive documentation, not just for this API, but all of their other APIs too. And actually for the demo, as I mentioned, for the Google Books, same as for the Pixel Encounter, I had a personal motivation to build it or to work with it. For this one, it was Christmas coming, and before Christmas in my family and in the friends area, there is a lot of birthdays also happening, where usually books are exchanging hands or working around in between each other. And for this reason, I was asked by various, let's say also family members, also friends, to look for some Spanish books since I'm living now in Spain, which I can bring back and have as a gift for them. And given I'm working day to day, as probably most of us in Microsoft Teams and this ecosystem, I was thinking, well, it would be fairly much easier to bring in Google Books itself, just to search into my day to day work. Within half an hour or 1 hour, it was done. It's still a prototype, so don't take it apart, this kind of application. This is the second one. The Pixel up was the first one, so no need to throw chairs. And basically, would come already the first question of why did I do it, even though I work with, or we are working with Microsoft Teams and a Power Platform community. One of the happiest things of using this connector is that actually it provides more access to the books library than googlebooks.com, the user interface of Google itself. I think the mobile application is a bit more handy for us, but the Google Books interface is not really allowing that much of a search parameters like the overall search authors, filters, language codes going through, like what you can access in the API. The same way, if I'm looking for a result, like I'm looking for a book for Tolkien, I get back, probably 10 results. I check one of them out. There is a bit of description, the title, the subtitle, the author. I can find more information under the link. It's a British one. Usually it's listed around $10. I can find more information. Actually, the retrieved information is also way more descriptive or contains way more details than what we can find on the googlebooks.com website. I assume that's by design. But in this way, basically, we have access to bigger part of, or a bigger amount of data on our hand. I could just click around and show around also the prototype itself. It's really basic, overall searching out or filtering for various solutions. But I assume anyway we are running out of time, and the main understanding is here just a part of we are capable of, with a single search button, doing complex queries, returning back the results, and work with the thumbnails, images, all the return information what we get back from the connection. And just as a final note, before then opening up for questions or handing back the word, it's really the most basic one of working with it in, for example, Canvas application or yet again Power Automate, is just working with the Google Books in the Launcher connector, having the input as the search itself, and some additional parameters if needed, like the language restriction. I'm just interested in English or Spanish or Hungarian results, and some additional filter parameters. And I would say that's all. I would hand back or forward. I'm not sure where the direction.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Feel free to unmute.
I just say that's so cool. Thank you for showing us that.
Thank you very much.
This was really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We actually have Troy just shared that there's also a Lord of the Rings independent publisher connector as well. This goes hand in hand